Welcome to 100 Yards Football this morning. It's our college football history special. Today we're going to highlight the greatest player that played at the University of Georgia, and his name is Herschel Walker. If you like the video this morning, please come in and share it. I'm your host, Vincent Turner. If you like the video, and I'm trying to get my emotions correct, because when I talk about this young man, he was a great player on the college level. If you like the video, please come in and share it. We surely appreciate it here at 100 Yards Football. So let me start with this young man from Wrightsville, Georgia. Came onto the college scene in 1980. And boy, did he rock the world. At the time of my life, I was going into my junior year at the University of Arkansas. Now, I was up there in the North Hill Mountains of Arkansas. I'm originally from Memphis, Tennessee. If anybody knows me personally and been watching what we've been doing here at 100 Yards Football. But when I heard of this young man, I had never really understood or even kept up with the University of Georgia football. I didn't even know nothing about Georgia because at that time I was all about pig suing because I was attending that school. And I came from a city in Memphis, Tennessee. It was all about the big orange, the University of Tennessee. So I really didn't have little knowledge of what they was doing in Georgia. And I'd never been to Atlanta in my life at 20 years old. So the story goes like this. The college football season is kicking off. In 1980, it was a very special season because the University of Arkansas came in preseason number 2. They had Bobby Duckworth, Trent Bryant, Tom Jones was taking over the quarterback position. They had Gary Anderson that had a great freshman year. And they was playing Texas on Labor Day, who was number 1. And Texas had Donnie Little. Never forget that. They had another great defensive tackle by the name of Kenneth Sims. So Texas and Arkansas opened up the 1980 season, and Texas won that game. And everything was on the campus at the University of Arkansas we was trying to get over that loss Arkansas had on Labor Day against Texas. So leading up to the first college weekend opening that Saturday, I had a sister who's very dear to my heart. She lives in New Orleans, Louisiana right now. I want to give her shouts out. Her name is Bridget Turner. And she was a true freshman at the University of Tennessee. And that 1980 Tennessee team had 3 guys that was out of my neighborhood that was on that team, with 2 guys, Mark Studaway, who's the defensive tackle on that team, Carson Peoples, who's a backup corner. And they had another guy, Daryl Harper, who played safety. So the first weekend of the college football season is over with, and I pick up the Fayetteville News, and I'm following all the college football scores. And I look at the score. It was Monday morning following the first college football weekend. I said, Tennessee lost a close game to the University of Georgia, 16-15, because back in them days, we didn't have internet. We didn't have social media. So you had to wait literally. If a game was played on Saturday night, you really had to wait till Monday morning to get the scores. But after I got through reading the paper that Monday morning, I had a history class at 10:30 Central Time. So Knoxville's in Eastern Standard Time, which at the time, that's when my sister was a true freshman. And I'm in my dorm room. We have phones in our dorm room that we can set up calls. So I get a call long distance. I said, will you take the call, Mr. Turner? It's from Bridget Turner, Knoxville, Tennessee. And so I said, yeah, what's up, sis? Everything going good? You on campus your first week? And I want people to listen to this. My sister Bridget was a cheerleader in high school for 3 years. And she was a freshman same year. Herschel Walker was a freshman. But she's not a big football fan. But she called me and she said, brother, I got to tell you something. I know you like the football game. I know you like it at the highest level. But I just saw something on Saturday night. I went to my first college football game. And I saw a guy. Brother, I want you to remember his name. 2 words. Herschel Walker. She said, brother, I don't even follow football. But he came into the game in the 3rd quarter. And he ran over Bill Bates. You know, him and Carlton Peoples, who played corner at the time. Bill Bates and them were real good friends because Bill Bates, we know how his career went. He won a couple of Super Bowl rings for the Dallas Cowboys. Brother, This guy ran over Bill Bates. And he's a big guy too. Brother, he's not your average 175, 180 pound tailback. He was a monster. So she excited telling me about this young man out of Ricefield, Georgia. So I said, okay. We talked for about 30 minutes, and all she could say how he came in before 92,000 up there in many.link Stadium and shook up the world. And it was people in the stands was like in amazement. Let me say it one more time, in amazement. So what I did, I said, you know what? I'm going to start following the University of Georgia football program. So the next week against Texas A&M, I followed Herschel Walker. And I saw he had like 180 yards, something like that. But he had a 79-yard touchdown. I said, okay, I'm following him. And then all of a sudden, the traction is picking up nationwide. Who's this young man from Ricefield, Georgia? Then later on in the season, Georgia plays South Carolina. Now, in my mind, I'm hearing about this guy, 6'1", 220. And I'm saying he's only a freshman, 18 years old. But they play South Carolina on national television. And they ranked. They moving up in the polls. And I really watched the game, to be honest, because I wanted to see what George Rogers was going to do. Because at the time, he was the Heisman leader in the House. And boy, what I saw a young man put 219 yards on South Carolina. But what struck me was that he took a pitch and went 80 yards. And there was two guys that had an angle on him, and he just exploded. I'm talking about Bob Hayes, world-class speed. And I said, oh, my God, could I be watching something special here? I said, yes, I am. Then I followed Herschel. Then a couple of weeks later against Florida. Third play, big game. He goes 79 yards. And he's running away from people at 6'1", 220 pounds. Then what really set the tone for me. Georgia's now number one. They're going into the Sugar Bowl. They're playing Notre Dame. And really, the people even down in Memphis, Tennessee, didn't think Georgia was going to beat Notre Dame. And it's New Year's Day in the Turner house. And everybody in my family, I'm home from school, January the 1st, 1981. I got my cousin that's visiting from Chicago. I got all my guys from the neighborhood, Lawrence King, Clifton Miller, Dwayne Arnold. Everybody's down at the house to see this young man from Ricefield, Georgia. First play of the game. First Georgia offensive play of the game. He separates his shoulder. Don't nobody even know. But in that football game, he carries it 36 times for 150 yards. And the most incredible stat about that football game is that a lot of those rushes, I don't even think he had over 15 yards. And he played with a separated shoulder. And the thing about that, no disrespect, Buck Bellew only completed one pass for 7 yards in that game. Georgia wins the national championship, and Herschel Walker is on another level in college football history. And let me also say, during that season, he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated, rocked up. And I remember, I'm not trying to go back, I remember when he was on the cover, I was in the bookstore at the University of Arkansas. And I tell a true story. When the cover came out with him on the front, all them women, whether it was white, African-American, Hispanic, went crazy over this young man over Ricefield, Georgia. But let me get back to his career. Herschel Walker, Georgia, the city of Atlanta is put on the map. But what's so stunning about his his freshman year, remember he played with a separated shoulder, won a national championship. 30 days later, he runs as a track star in the 60-yard dash in the Melrose Games, which was the highest rated track event. against Ron Brown, Stanley Floyd, Carl Lewis. That's unheard of. Then I'm going to go back to his sophomore year in college when Georgia repeated and got back to the Sugar Bowl. The Florida game. Probably the greatest performance I've ever seen by a running back on any level. College, pro, little league, youth league. Florida, 47 carries, 192 yards. The final drive, 11 carries, 65 yards. Against a Florida defense that was led by Wilbert Marshall, Tony Lilly, David Galloway. A sophomore, man. And then his final touchdown to win that football game for Georgia, he leaped. And that vertical was like David Thompson and Dr. J in the ABA Slam Dunk Championship in 1976. That's how high Herschel vertical was. Man, I've seen 2 college football players on the college level at the running back position impact the college game before Herschel Walker came in. That was Tony Dorsett. That was Earl Campbell. But I'm going to say this. When you look at Herschel Walker, there's been no better college football player that has rocked the world. And I'm taking him over Barry Sanders. Bo Jackson, I don't want to hear that. Jim Brown, I don't want to hear that. And I'm going to tell you something. I didn't see him play personally in college, but the only other guy that I saw play that I can compare Herschel Walker, to, is Walter Payton. I seen him play in college at Jackson State. But Walter Payton was only about 5'10", at the most 205. Herschel Walker, 6'1", 220. Let me talk about the man's skill set. Competitors, A+. 6'1", 220. Olympic size like Carl Lewis, A+. 18-year-old among boys, A+. Burst, A+. Strength, A+. And this is what separates him from all the other running backs on the college level. Let me throw Archie Griffin in there too. Endurance. If you want to know how special Herschel Walker was, in 3 years, he rushed for 5,239 yards. In 3 years, he carried the ball almost 900 times. In 3 years. That's amazing, man. On a college level. And he took Georgia to levels during them years from 1980 to 1982 that's never been seen in college football. I'm sorry. And if you want me to back up one more stat, Herschel in 3 years got 5,000, let me say it again, 259 yards. Nick Chubb, and Herschel did that in 33 games. Nick Chubb in 37 games at the University of Georgia went for 4,769 yards. I don't have to say it no more. He's one of the best football players, maybe the greatest football player I've seen on the college level. And trust me, I've seen some good ones. Joe Street Gilliam at Tennessee State University, Reggie White at the University of Tennessee, Walter Payton. I've seen them play up close and personal. But this guy here, I'm just so upset that I didn't get to witness greatness. This young man has been the best that's ever done it in college football. And we've had some great college football players, and especially in the SEC. Joe Namath, Pat Sullivan, oh my God, Archie Manning, Willie Gault, Johnny Jones at the University of Tennessee, Condrich Holloway. The list can go on and on. Johnny Cooks at Mississippi State. This young man here, Burt Jones at LSU. It's not going to be another running back that's came into the SEC is this young man, Herschel Walker, and on the college level. And I'm just lost for words because back in 1980, I'm going to say it one more time, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have social media. All we had was the word of the mouth. And when I got that phone call back in that early September morning, about 10:30 Central Standard Time, on the hill at the University of Arkansas, and it was my little sister calling me, Bridget Turner, who was a freshman at the University of Tennessee. And I remember her magical words, brother, you better get ready for an explosion. Because what I just seen in Neyland Stadium before 92,000, there's a young man that's going to come through college football, and he's going to start doing some eating. He's going to start picking up some trash, and his name is Herschel Walker. And boy, she was not telling a lie. There was a great football player here, man. And I love this game of football on the high school level, the college level, and pro level. It's never going to be a young man that's came on the college level as this young man right here in Herschel Walker. You better believe that. And the way the game is going, we've had some good running backs that came through college football. Reggie Bush, Derrick Henry, Najee Harris, Nick Chubb, Sonny Michel, Todd Gurley. But even going back to 1980, it's still not going to be a guy that's came into college football with the pedigree and just the ability that this young man had. And his name is Herschel Walker. College football, 3 years, 5,249 yards in 3 seasons and 33 games. And he went on and played 15 seasons in the National Football League. And you know what? If he would have just stepped away from football and said, I want to concentrate on track, I believe he could have been one of the greatest sprinters in the track and field game in the United States. And I'm talking about at a world-class level. So, my final words about Herschel Walker, I'm going to go back to 1980. When I was on campus at the University of Arkansas, and I was a big-time R&B fan, and my band was out of Dayton, Ohio. They had a lead singer by the name of Mark Wood, and the name of the band was Lakeside. And they had a song out that was All the Way Live. Man, Herschel Walker came to Athens, Georgia, and he was all the way live. I'm all the way live. Sure enough, I'm all the way live. If you like the video today of Herschel Walker, the greatest football player at the University of Georgia, please come in and share it. I'm your host, Vincent Turner, and enjoy the rest of the week. 100 yards football. And before I leave, I'd like to give kudos to the young man that put together this video today for me and produced it. We call him Babyface here at 100 yards of football. He's the youngest member. And check out his college football previews this evening. He goes by the name of Logan Landers out of Douglasville, Georgia. Like to say God bless, and y'all have a wonderful day.